So if your jaw clicks and hurts at the very beginning of opening your mouth, you better stay tuned in this video because I'm going to show you guys a few easy tips to make sure you improve the movement of the jaw so the clicking reduces and the pain reduces. Now step one, if you haven't already, subscribe to RyleyRehab. I come up with new videos every single week helping you become the expert of not only your own jaw, but your own body in general. So let's get to it here. Your jaw joint, also known as your TMJ, is this joint right here in this area where it starts with this little bony bit here and then it joins on this little ridge on the top of the head. Just so you guys know, that bony bit is right in front of your ear right here, and then that ridge is right in front. So if you look at where your, this little bit of your ear, the tragus it's called, go right in front of there and that's where it is. But additionally, in between those spots, you have a little thing called a disc in the middle, which is this black thing. Not a perfect representation, but this will show you how it works. Basically, if you imagine the disc, it has a little contour on this side, just to allow this head to kind of fit in there. Imagine it's kind of like a plate. You know how a plate kind of rounds in? It kind of holds this in place there, and it's a kind of plate shaped on the other side to hold in that spot on the other end. Where it can go wrong is this disc can sometimes shift forward. And when it shifts forward, then this means that you're going to get a lot of clicking, especially on that beginning half, because if you imagine the kind of seat, the area where it caves in, is right in front. So as soon as you open your mouth, now, when the mouth opens, this little ball should glide forward, and what'll happen, when the mouth opens, this thing should glide forward, and what'll happen is it'll clunk right into the middle of the disc, and that's why you get that little clicking sound. The other thing a lot of people may not know is when you close your mouth from that point, when you close your mouth, it'll clunk back the other way because that disc is slipped forward. So you get clicking when you open the mouth usually, and usually just on the first little bit of opening. So from here to here. Yeah. And that's a problem we're going to deal with today. Now first off, keep in mind this is totally worth checking in with your doctor or medical provider just to see what's going on here before taking this advice, because there may be many reasons for it clicking. However, this is a very common reason and often a very common one to solve. So if you imagine that the disc is slipped forward, as soon as you open your mouth, as soon as it clunks in, that is actually not a bad thing. That is a good thing, because basically if you imagine the disc is right here and then the head is right here, as soon as you're opening your mouth, it slips in. It's right in gear, right in place. But your big goal is you want to keep it there. So, homework assignment for you guys to do is start off by slowly opening your mouth. I can't do this while talking, so I will show you guys right here. I'll show you my teeth so you can see how much I open. At that point, you should feel a click. As soon as you feel that click, don't worry, don't panic, it's not a big deal. Just keep it there, and then from that point when it's open, I want you guys to slowly close your mouth, slowly bring that gap back in. But don't go to the point where it clicks again, because if it clicks again, you basically knocked it back out of place and you're kind of back to square one. So it should look like this. Basically what you're doing here is you're trying to work within that range of where the click is, but right before the click when you're closing it. And then you're just going back and forth between those ranges. And the whole idea is this just kind of helps settle that head back into the disc and kind of helps it, I guess you could say, kind of break in, like the way you would break in to sitting on a couch, but you're not actually doing any damage here. You're more just getting it used to that position and also improving your body's ability to control it as you go up and down. So when you do this, you really want to just keep working within that range where you don't get that click on the close. And this is something you should do a lot of times a day. I will say for those of you in pain, you definitely want to limit this maybe to something like 5 sets of 10. But if this isn't causing you pain, this is really something you should be spending as much time working on as possible, because the whole idea is you're trying to just get that back into place, and that doesn't happen overnight. One way you can progress this is to try to see if you can get slightly farther back without making it click. But as soon as you click, just realize that's as far as you can go. It usually doesn't mean that closing click is going to cause you any damage or is a big deal, but just in general, it kind of slows down your rehab, so I prefer you guys to avoid that. And also, don't get discouraged if throughout the day when you have to do certain things that it clicks on the close. That'll happen with life. As long as you're talking and doing things, it's going to happen. So just focus on making sure it stays in that position during the exercise especially. Now some of you guys may find this way too not challenging, and you may have been just used to this, been doing it for weeks. The way you can make this harder is to actually put pressure against your jaw while doing that same exercise. So you basically put a bit of force, you can use your thumb, against your chin, and then you do the exact same opening and closing. So and then you can do the exact same thing pushing on the right side while trying to keep the jaw in that perfect neutral position while you do it, so not letting it bend to the side there. Push on the right for 10. And you can also push on your chin and kind of drag your chin down to resist your closing. So I'm basically pulling down with my hand and I'm doing the exact same thing. By doing this, you build the strength while doing those same motions. So it really does help just with the rehab of the TMJ. One final tip too, and this is for those of you who might have been doing this for a while and you really are just getting sick of having the routine exercises. One way you can make this a part of your day-to-day life is to actually incorporate this whenever you're reading at night. So if you imagine story time in class when you're reading all your stories, you would be reading out loud, "The dog went up the hill and did the thing." Whenever you're reading those kind of things, read either out loud or just doing the lip movements without actually making noise. But while you do that reading, slow it down. Slow it down to the speed where you aren't getting that click on the closing part. And then just basically go through either talking or reading, whatever it is you read, doesn't matter what it is, and then just slow the speed down. And this is a great way to continue the rehab because reading, for most people, it's going to be something that they have to do naturally for many different reasons on their own time. So this is a really great way to integrate it into a part of your day-to-day life. Last thing I got to say to you guys, it's a marathon, not a sprint, so don't assume any quick fixes on this. The pain I've often seen go down quickly in people, but when you're trying to remove the clicking, this is a long process. You really do have to get that kind of bone back in place there. And sometimes this can take a lot of time. But just stay true to it. Let me know if this worked. Please subscribe to RyleyRehab. Stay tuned, and I'll see you next time.